Hi everybody, welcome to another video. So as promised, I will be doing part 2 or section 2 of the CSEC Spanish demo test that is available on the CXC website. Before I go any further, if you've been here for a while and you're finding the content helpful, just remember to share it with fellow CSEC Spanish students so that they can also benefit from the information. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and don't be afraid to leave any comments, questions, queries, concerns that you might have regarding anything that is said or done in these videos or just about CSEC Spanish overall. You can send that to ElAula by cg@gmail.com. So that's ElAulabycg@gmail.com. Okay, so let's get right into it. The first section of the paper one was focused on listening. So we were working on our listening skills. For this section of the paper, we are focusing mainly on grammar skills. So general grammar skills or vocabulary or conjugations, being able to read a passage and answer relevant questions. Okay, so let's begin. In this little section, we're going to see sentences that contain a blank space and we're selecting the best choice, right? So 31 says, voy a leer y hacer mis deberes en. So I'm going to read and do my homework in. Now, after looking through all the different options, La Biblioteca is the best one because it is library. So number 31 is D. Now, just so we're aware of what else we're working with. So La Librera would be like a book seller, book vendor, feminine. La Libreria would be bookstore or bookshop. So it's really important to remember common vocabulary like this because Libreria looks a lot like library, but it is not a cognate. Library in Spanish is biblioteca. And then La Estanteria would be shelves. I'm trying to get this to align. All right, that's better. That's a bit better. All right, so now we're moving on to 32. So the next sentence says, los empleados se niegan a entrar en la fábrica porque hay. So the workers refuse to enter the factory because there is. So the response that I would select for this would be huelga, which is a strike. Or other options would be money, dinero, work or job. Said huelga is strike. And empleo would also be job. So what this section is really testing, as I mentioned before, is vocabulary knowledge and your ability to use context clues, right? So just to go over the sentence, the workers refuse to enter the factory because there is a strike. So that's the best response. Next sentence says, hay 2 meses que no llueva. La tierra está muy. So If it's been 2 months where we've had no rain, it hasn't rained for 2 months, then the earth or the land is very dry. So the land would be very dry, which would be option A, our first option. Seca or seco, if it was a feminine, sorry, if it were a masculine noun, it would have been seco, but it's a feminine noun, la tierra, so it's seca, which is dry. Fresca would be cool or fresh, depending on the context. Cansada would be tired, and lluviosa would be rain. Best option here, seca, which is dry. 34. All right, this I would say is a pretty popular question on the paper one because it's a bit tricky. But we'll get into that. No me gusta el pollo hervido. Prefiero comerlo. Blank, blank, blank. So I don't like baked chicken. I prefer to eat what type of chicken? The answer for this question is A, asado. So el pollo asado would be roasted chicken, roast chicken. Now, the reason why I commented on this being a bit tricky is because at first glance, many people or some people would expect that barbacho is perhaps barbecue chicken, right? And that enfriado is fried chicken, perhaps. Or even that rosado is roast chicken. Can happen in an exam situation, but it's important to know the vocab and to just revise. Take some time to think it out, right? So said that asado be roasted. Now rosado is pink. It's a color. Enfriado is cold. Sorry. So enfriado is from enfriar, which means to cool. Barbecho is follow, which is an adjective that's usually used to describe land. So it actually has nothing to do with food. So our answer is roasted chicken. Right. He perdido la blank y ahora no puedo abrir la puerta. So I've lost the something and now I'm not able to open the door. Now we know that we're looking for the word for key. We lost the key, we can't open the door. Or other options would have been lock, as in the lock that you would have on the door that you need to open. Memory, will, that willingness to do something. And our answer, llave, is key. All right. 36. Para lavar la ropa, tengo todo menos. So to wash the clothes, I have everything except we're looking for a washing implement. So we're looking for soap. So again, this question can be tricky because what happens a lot of the times is that certain Spanish words look like, English words or they sound like them, but they're not actually the Spanish version of the English word that's in your head. So the Spanish word for soap, which is what we are looking for, is el jabón, right? Or other options would be soup. Por ejemplo, sopa de letras, which is alphabet soup. Or sopa de vegetales, vegetable soup. Our winner right here, soap. Yave, we just saw this, key. And Amon, which sounds like the English version, ham. So moving on. 37. No me gané la lotería. Me siento blank, blank, blank. So I did not win the lottery. I feel no, I mean, well, most people want to win the lottery. It's a lot of money. So if you try to win the lottery and you don't, you're likely to feel sad. So our answer is A, or other options would be happy, tired, or just another expression for happy, basically. Ooh. So I didn't win the lottery. I feel sad. I believe that's a fair response. Next question. Todos podemos ir en su carrito, pero estaremos muy ... This sentence, what's it saying? So we could all go in your little car, because remember, whenever you see ito or ita at the end of a word, it usually suggests that it's the small version of something. So for example, if we see, I know I'm sidetracking a bit, but just a reminder. If we see hermanita, this means little sister, right? So that's just a reminder. So back to the question. We can all go in your little car, but we will be very... So that was actually the main clue in this sentence. The fact that the car is small is going to give away the answer, right? Yes. The best option to select would be apretados, and let's run through all the meanings. So apretados would basically be cramped, and the other options would be comfortable. So comfortable, cramped, rushed, or engaged. So you're in a small car, you're likely to have, you know, not that much room. So you're unlikely to be comfortable. You're not being rushed. We don't have any clue to suggest that we're being rushed, and engaged is just out of the question. So I would go with B. And again, this could have possibly been tricky because apresurado seems like it would mean, I don't know, something to do with pressure or squeezing. Yeah, I don't know. That's just looking at it, that's the idea that I get. But it actually means rushed. So B is the correct answer. Moving on. All right, so now we're at another little section in the overall section 2. So this is where we have a passage and we have to carefully select a word or phrase for each blank. So I'm going to just read through with the blanks and then break it down question by question. So let's go. Title is Una experiencia fenomenal. Let's follow along. Lina. Blank, ¿dónde estoy? Blank en la Ciudad de México, junto a la pirámide de la luna. Blank, los aztecas hace siglos. Lina. me blank tan emocionada, si es a misspelling, al lado blank esta construcción tan enorme, blank tengo ganas de llorar. No sabes cuántas blank soñé con blank este lugar. All right, so sentence by sentence. Lina, blank, ¿dónde estoy? So let's go through all the verbs to see which one would be the best fit. So Lina, do you know where I am? Do you write where I am? Do you know where I am? Do you want where I am? All right, so we're going to be selecting one of the verbs that would mean to know. So I would have realized that we have both saber and conocer present. So a little reminder, we would use saber because we're talking about knowing information, right? Knowing where I am. So do you know where I'm at? We're not talking about knowing a person, for example. It's more about a fact or information. So we're going to go with saber. Clear the screen. So 40 says blank en la Ciudad de México junto a la pirámide de la luna. So let me just stop right here for now. Focus on this. So again, let's use a process of elimination. Slight grammar review. Right here we have the use of object pronouns. Wait, pause. Right here, sorry, we have the use of an object pronoun. Right here we have the use of a reflexive verb. Cool, cool. So which one are we going to choose? Are we going to choose I leave or I go? I feel, I had, or I find myself? I am selecting B, me encuentro. So again, utilizing the object pronoun. So this is literally saying I find myself. So if we read everything that we have all together so far, we have Lina. ¿Sabes dónde estoy? Lina, do you know where I am? Me encuentro en la Ciudad de México junto a la pirámide de la luna. So I find myself in Mexico City next to the moon pyramid. Next question. All right, so 41. So continuation. Blank los aztecas hace siglos. So I found myself in Mexico City next to the pyramid, blank, the Aztec centuries ago. So hace siglos is centuries ago. I would select C. Edificada is from edificar, which is to build. And in this case, we're using it as an adjective, essentially. So I find myself in Mexico City next to the moon pyramid built by the Aztecs centuries ago. Or other options would have been said, as in SAID, alcanzada, which is from alcanzar, which is to reach, or destruida sobre. So destroyed a boat. So built by would be the best option, given the context. Next question. All right. Lina, me blank tan emocionada. I'm going to just... There we go. All right. Tan emocionada al lado blank esta construcción tan enorme. So focusing on this section right here for now. So Lena, I something so excited beside this structure, right? The best option for this one would be siento. So I find myself, oops, I'm going all the way back here. So I find myself in Mexico City next to the moon pyramid built by the Aztecs centuries ago. I know I'm saying, Lena, I feel so excited being next to this structure, being next to such a large structure. Visto would be seen. Lavo is from lavar to wash. Peino is from peinarse, which is basically to brush. So siento would be our best bet. 43 is in the same sentence as 42 and 44. So what we really need for 43, we just need to know which preposition goes with al lado. So it's always al lado de. So I feel so excited I feel so excited being next to such a large structure. 44. So I know I'm rereading the sentences a lot, but it's because I want us to keep up with the flow each time we're feeling something new. So Lena, I feel so excited being next to such a large structure. And what's going on in this section now is that we're saying to the point that I want to cry. So I feel so excited to the point that I want to cry. Another way to think about it would be, I feel so excited that I want to cry. So tener ganas de, followed by the infinitive, essentially means to want to do whatever the verb is. Que would be our best option. Other options, quien would be who, el cual would be which, porque would be because. And now, where are we? 45, okay. No sabes cuántas blank soñé con blank este lugar. So you don't know how many times, let me use a spotlight. You don't know how many times I dreamt of something, this place. Veces. When we're expressing how many times, collective, we do something, we use veces. Quantas is, it's just, oh, quantas, okay. Meses is months, and tiempo would not be used in this context. We use tiempo when we are talking about a more general pattern. So when we're talking about the weather, for example, ¿qué tiempo hace? That's when we use tiempo. When we're talking about how many times we do something, it would be veces. And the final one, so you don't know how many times I've dreamt of visiting this place. What's important to note right here is that con precedes the verb or the form of the verb that we need to use. When con precedes a verb, in this context, the verb would be in the infinitive. So no sabes cuántas tiempo, no sabes cuántas veces, almost had me for a moment, soñé con visitar este lugar. All right, so I got through that one. Don't think we missed any. No, we did not miss any. So just to run through everything that was going on here. So we basically have someone who is now in Mexico City writing to their friend Lena. And the completed version of this passage is, Lena, do you know where I am? I find myself in Mexico City next to the moon pyramid built by the Aztecs centuries ago. Lena, I feel so excited being beside or being next to such a grand structure that I want to cry. You don't know how many times I've dreamt of visiting this place. All right, so next passage. So again, I'm going to read with the blanks. So the title is Encuentro de turistas con una vendedora panameña. So what's going on here is that we have a dialogue, right? So beside this dash, one person is talking. Beside this dash, another person is saying all of this. So let's go. Customer says, Mujer, ¿nos va a atender o no? ¿Por qué no nos hace blank? ¿Quiere que blank grite? Vendor says, mal educado. ¿Y usted piensa que puede hablarme a mí de esa manera porque tiene blank americano? Eso es blank algunas turistas piensan, ¿verdad? Pues no, no blank pueden hacer. Ustedes, los turistas, deben blank, que los vendedores somos gente blanca ustedes y merecemos respeto. So what's going on here, even with all the blanks, is that we have a customer or a potential customer, and there seems to be some type of disagreement with the vendor. So let's fill in the individual blanks though. Question number 47. So, lady, are you going to help us or not? Why don't you do something to us? That's not the literal meaning. I'm just trying to like give a clue without giving the answer. What this sentence or what this question is, it's the person essentially asking, why aren't you giving us any attention? Like, why aren't you giving us any attention? So the phrase that we'd use is porque no nos hace caso, which if you translate it literally, it would be like, why aren't you making us a case? But how we would really talk on a daily basis is, why aren't you giving us attention? So our other options would be nada, nothing, celos, jealous, or jealousy. Ganas, we saw ganas back here using the context of tener ganas de, having to do with want. So caso, the expression hacer caso would basically be like to give some form of attention to, right? So now we're at 48. Says quiere que blank grite. So how I am seeing 48 is that the customer is basically asking, do you want me to shout it out? So I would select low And of course, right here, we're using object pronouns. I would select lo because it's not as if there or whatever it's a he because the vendor says maleducado. So it's not as if whatever he is going to shout out has like been given a particular gender. So when something is kind of, what's the best word? Abstract, we would use the masculine form, right? Now, the only other thing that would be close to lo would be if you think about him saying, do you want me to shout at you? But if he were asking, do you want me to shout at you? We would select le, right? Not less, because it's one vendor that he's talking to, which is why I'm going with lo, which is a direct object pronoun. So do you want me to shout it out, whatever it is, whether that's his order, what he wants, etc. So he's not shouting at anybody, because less would be an indirect object pronoun. And even if he were, he would be shouting at one vendor, so it would be le. So that is why I am selecting A. I hope that was clear. So continuing. So right now the vendor is responding and she basically says, like, how rude. Like, you're so ill-mannered. Do you think you can talk to me like this because you have American blank? So do you think you can talk to me like this because you have American money? Right? Or other options would be dolor, pain, color, chaqueta, jacket. So we have the potential customer, client, getting angry or agitated, asking why the vendor isn't giving him or giving them, whoever he's with, any attention, asking if she wants him to shout out what he wants, and now the vendor is retaliating and essentially asking, like, do you think you can be talking to me like this because you have American money? And then she continues and she says, SOS blank algunos turistas piensan. So this is what some tourists think. I'm selecting lo que. Lo que is a relative pronoun like el cual or quien or que. But with lo que, lo que means what, right? But just as a little revision, when I say it means what, I don't mean that it is a synonym for qual or que. So, for example, when we ask que quieres, right, we're asking, what do we want? But lo que is used in the context, lo que is used in a more abstract context in a sense. So for example, if I say what I want for Christmas is a new car, right? That's how we would use lo que. And that's how the vendor is using it right here. So she says, that is what some tourists think. So that's just a general thing to know in terms of relative pronouns, specifically with lo que. Continuing. So that's what some tourists think, right? Well, no. They cannot do that. Or you all, sorry, cannot do that. So again, I'm going with low, similar to 48, where we said the customer was asking, do you want me to shout it out? The vendor right here is saying they cannot do that, or they cannot do it, whatever it is. It is the action of thinking that they can shout at her because they have American money. And since it does not have a specified gender, it's just a general situation, we're going to use low. All right. 52. Ustedes los turistas deben blank que los vendedores somos ente. So you all, as tourists, need to understand that us vendors are people just like you all, and we deserve respect. So that's what this whole sentence, that's what this final sentence is saying. Now, when we're using deber, just a refresher, deber means to have to, right? So you all should, or you all have to understand that we're people just like you. If you remember, when we use deber or tener que, which is a synonym, we conjugate deber. So right here we have deben for you all. And then we put the infinitive form right after it. So deben entender. I kind of gave this away, but that's fine. So you all need to understand that us vendors are persons like you all, and we deserve respect. When we're describing equality, when we're suggesting that two concepts are equal, we use, sorry about that. We use como. So we're saying we're people like you all, just like you all. Can would be so. If you remember from the previous passage, when the writer of the letter was saying, I'm so excited to be next to a structure so enormous. That's when we use tan, right? So we're using como. Más que would be more than, and diferente would be different. So our best option here is como, and that's it. So running through the entire passage now with all the answers. So, lady, are you going to help us or not? Why aren't you giving us any attention? Do you want me to shout it out? Okay. How ill-mannered or rude? And you think that you can talk to me in this way because you have American money? This is what some tourists think, right? Well, no. You all cannot do that. You tourists need to understand that us vendors are people just like you, and we deserve respect. All right, so back to 54, where we are now at an ad, and 54 to 56, I believe, will be based on this ad. So this advertisement is about a spa of some sort. Let's read through it together. So I have the name right here. And right here we see that you can go to this place for health and beauty treatments. All right. All right. So the ad is telling us to visit our unisex center. Says that it's the most modern in the island. And they're basically telling you to, like just leave yourself to be attended by or highly qualified personnel, right? Says Salon Venus is supervised by European experts with the most, sorry about that, with the most modern team that would offer our clients like the best care in a luxurious environment. And then right here we have the opening time, the telephone number, and the age demographic that they serve. So we see that they're open from Monday to Saturday, and you need to set an appointment, give you the telephone, and then right here it says that they serve people or they attend to people who are older than 18 years old, so adults, right? And that's actually the first, well, no, that's not the first question, but the first question is a demographic question. Wait, yeah, that actually is the first question about the, okay, anyways, let's just get into the question. So it asks, ¿Quiénes pueden visitar este salón? So who can visit this salon, right? So is it only females who are 18, males who are 18? Is it anyone from either sex? Or is it persons who are at least 18 years old? I would select D, because even though it is a unisex business, they did specify that you need to be an adult. Next question. So what is this salon like? What is this spa like? So let us see. So right here, we have, here's my drawing tool. Right here, the environment is described as luxurious, so lujoso. And right here, the equipment is described as modern. Oh, my apologies. I know earlier I said equipo is team. It can be team, but in this context, because we're talking about like a salon, they're likely to be describing like the machinery or the equipment that they use. So we can infer that they are modern and luxurious. Oh, and also it's right here again. So moderno y lujoso. I don't see anything about, let me just look. Yes, that's right. We don't see anything about them being big or small or anything like that. So it's right there. Next question. Why is it important? Sorry, why or what is the importance of the telephone number in this advertisement? So let's use some context clues, make some inferences right here, right? Right above the telephone number, they tell you that you need to have an appointment. Cool. So why do we think the telephone number is there? Is it to find them online? Is it to verify if they're open, if the opening time is already there? Is it to call them on the weekend if they told you that they're, not gonna be open after Saturday? No, it would most likely be to make an appointment. So para hacer una cita. All right, and now we are on the last lap of this paper for real. So we're at 57 and we have a passage. So let's go in. So let's see what's going on right here. All right, so what's going on? So last Saturday, Margarita, who is the daughter of the narrator's neighbor, fell from a tree, a tall tree, and was basically unconscious. Oh, my spotlight is off, but this is where I'm at right now. So Margarita had climbed the tree to help get her little cat down. Yes. So she had climbed the tree to help get her cat down because apparently the cat had problems with, getting down. So what was going on? So Margarita's mother had been working in the garden when she saw what happened. She was really scared. She ran towards basically the scene where this happened. She found her daughter there. Her daughter is Margarita. And even though she called out to Margarita several times, she didn't respond or move. So what did the mother do? She immediately called the hospital, and in a few minutes, an ambulance arrived and they took Margarita to the hospital. That's the summary of this passage, right? So first question, ¿qué ocurrió el sábado pasado? So I have to read these options very carefully. First one says, un árbol se cayó al suelo, right? After going through our little summary and, when we're on the exam, we're going to be underlining our keywords and all of that. Literally says, Margarita, my neighbor's daughter, fell from a tree. Se cayó, the acento is from caerse. So this is a reflexive verb, right? This is something that happened to her. So she, Margarita, let me use a different color. She fell out of the tree, right? The tree did not fall to the floor. The child fell from the tree. So D. Next one says, al caerse del árbol, la niña. So upon falling from the tree, did the little girl run to her house? I'm assuming this is supposed to be house and not case. It's not the answer either way, but still. So did she run to her house? Did she, the girl who fell from the tree, call the hospital? Whoop, that's not the answer. That I wasn't supposed to select that. Yeah. But did she run to her house? Did she call the hospital? Did she remain unconscious? Or did she get up off the group? Going back to the passage, right? Right here it says, quedó sin sentido. So she was basically unconscious. So, quedar sin sentido would be a synonym for quedar inconsciente? Because she didn't run to her house, she did not call the hospital, she was unconscious, she didn't get up off the floor. So the answer for this is C. Lovely. All right, so 59, I'm going to erase this so that there's no confusion. So, ¿qué hacía su mamá cuando esto ocurrió? What was her mother doing when this happened? Right here we have the imperfect tense. So we know that this is like the past continuous, right? That's one of the uses of the imperfect tense. So what was she doing? Right here, see that she was working in the garden when she saw what happened, when she saw her daughter fall from the tree. And then the final question, 60. So how did the mother feel upon seeing her daughter falling? We're going to go back to that part of the passage. I'll get my orange. So where were we? Where were we? Yes, right here. Muy asustado. Asustada. Sorry. So she was very scared. So we need to find the closest in meaning to asustada, which would be temerosa, which would also mean scared. Alegre would mean that she was happy. Enojada would mean that she was angry. And avergonzada would mean that she was embarrassed. And since we have asustada in the passage, we work with its synonym. All right. So that is it. Using this arrow would just take us to the end where we'd see what questions we did or didn't do. And these are blank because I did those the last time, so I didn't go over them. But yes, that's the end of this paper. We made it through the paper. I know this was very lengthy, but I really wanted to spend time to just explain everything properly. And with that being said, I really hope that this was helpful. And if you found this helpful, if you found the other content helpful again, just remember to share it with other students who would like this information and would like the explanations. All right, so that is all for this video this time around. So bye everybody.